yesterday I saw that R. Kelly's victim was doing interviews.
Yes.
And it was pointed out to me by somebody I work with at Apple. And she said, and shout to Sasha over there, she said nobody's really covering this. Rosenberg, did you see this interview? Had you known this would happen?
Which interview now?
This is the young girl that is in the R. Kelly videotape. Is out now. Obviously, she's older.
I saw that it moved.
Yeah. Her name is Reshona Landfair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has a book. She has a memoir that right now she's shopping around.
Okay, so that's why she's talking.
Yeah, it's called Who's Watching Shorty. I saw clips of this interview. It's disgusting, as you would have thought, but it's just like, it's very much the same story. Parents were involved in they were high off the celebrity that is R. Kelly. Sparkle is her aunt, I believe.
And who was an artist, signed to R. Kelly.
Yeah, she definitely was encouraging her to do things like sit on his lap and rub his head. Like, it's gross, bro. It's gross. And she really admits, like, being young and impressionable and, like, not really understanding and being groomed. As an adult now, she talks about looking back, like, she truly understands what she went through. So it's sad.
So the other thing that it was presented to me was that people are like not covering this story. Like it's not all over the blog.
No, it's not. It's not.
Why?
Very, very few people are covering it.
Why?
I don't know. Part of me feels like people are just kind of like, and I hate to say it like this because it doesn't matter, but they look at it like, okay, R. Kelly, old news, we already know. And I think people are just kind of glossing over it.
If you have kids in the car, trigger warning and all the things, we're going to play an excerpt from the conversation. This was on CBS Mornings.
When I think about the amount of time that has passed based on how long you knew R. Kelly, I think so many people have wanted to hear from you for so long. How does it feel to not be Jane Doe anymore?
It feels very rewarding. It feels very liberating, which was a part of the reason why I wanted to write this book, because I really wanted to live in my true skin, in my true self.
You say in the book, the next time we're at the studio, this is what you say Sparkle said. You say your aunt told you the next time we're at the studio, you should ask Robert to be your godfather. Aunt Sparkle explained that I should sit on his lap and rub his head while I asked him to be my godfather. This instruction seemed sort of weird since I hadn't sat on his lap before, but I didn't question it. When you think back, is that where it all begins? Is that the start?
That is the start. That is the start of him entering into my life in a different way than just being an artist or hanging out at the studio. It became more personable at that moment.
So when do things turn? And I know you go into great detail, the early stages and why this is so complicated, your mindset at that time.
Well, during the time that I met him, I'm also a teenage girl who's going through puberty. And so some of the things that I was thinking or feeling were just normal expressions to, my maturity level at the time. And so it starts very innocent. It starts, being mesmerized and, like you said, like admiring this person. And then, it kind of gets a little deeper or more complicated when that person is able to, see what you can't see, the way you're developing, your conversation, your personality traits. So it kind of became more complicated when he started analyzing me and, the things that I was going through and who I was becoming as a person. And again, I was excited and mesmerized to, be under his wing and to be a part of his habitat. So that's how things kind of unfolded.
So I'm not clear on why this isn't being, I figured I would have seen this on my timeline. Maybe the Epstein stuff is taking up my timeline. Maybe Bad Bunny's taking it up, but I went and looked at some of the blogs and I didn't see it right away.
No, I didn't see it either.
Are you guys out there in the chat? Have you guys seen this story? Because the other thing that was presented to me was that people felt like outlets didn't want to cover it. And to your point, Laura, where it was like, oh, we've heard this story, but we've never heard from her. And why wouldn't you want to give her a platform?
I don't know. I don't know, but listen. I just feel like that's the reason that blogs are not covering it, because they feel like, okay, we've covered enough of this. And it's sad because her story should be told. But
well, I think there's also a component of at this point, everybody knows how terrible he is. And so you're like, do we need to know more? But to your point, Laura, she deserves to have her time as well, in spite of the fact that we know how bad he was.
Well, and deeper than that, I've heard the story about her aunt, and I've heard the story about, her being young and wanting to be an artist.
right.
I didn't quite understand until right now how much it was her family that put her in that predicament.
Yeah.
Mom and dad and aunt. And the encouragement. I didn't know that it was encouraged, according to her, to sit on his lap, to call R. Kelly her godfather, to rub his head. And all that is, and by the way, that's why I feel like this is very important, because much of the abuse and sexual abuse that happens to people starts in family scenarios.
That's usually the case. And pay attention, because she talks about how Sparkle was the one who was encouraging her. And to me, listen, I think Sparkle is trash. We've heard this before, but it's like she basically knew that is the way to get him to pay attention. So she encouraged her to do that, to take that route. And
I will tell you,
teenager. She was young.
These stories hit different. These stories definitely hit different as the father of a little girl now. It is to just even try to fathom a world in which family members would alley-oop basically children in their family to a predator because they're that thirsty and desperate to get an opportunity. Man.
Yeah.
No, it's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
It's heavy stuff. And I'm going to say it again. That's why I feel like this story needs to be covered. Especially right now.
It's sad. And, she's telling her whole story in her book, but it's triggering for a lot of people because we've heard all of these stories before. And it's like, it's just sick, bro. It's sick. And like every day I'm like, R. Kelly deserves to stay in jail forever. At least that's how I feel.